This is the mid-range of scrubbers from Viper. They come in 24-inch, 26, and 28-inch scrubbing paths. This happens to be a 24, a Fang 24T. The chassis is a solution tank and holds 17 gallons. The recovery tank is on top, and it also holds 17 gallons. All the Fang 20s, all the mid-size scrubbers are traction drive. That means when the operator grips these levers, the machine will move on its own. There's a speed control knob right underneath the right hand of the operator so that your index finger, you can control the speed infinitely to the desired cleaning level or cleaning speed. To back the machine up, there's a toggle switch on the other side, can be operated with the left hand of the operator. To back it up, you have to hold the switch in the reverse position. If you let go, it will go forward and the machine will then go forward. So to reverse the machine, hold the switch back, pinch the triggers, and it will come back. Reverse, it does operate in a slower mode for safety reasons. To install the squeegee, when you store the squeegee, always store it upside down so the blades are not in contact with the floor, otherwise they'll bend and take a set. To install the squeegee, back off on the wing nuts, slide it into the receiving bracket, and snug the wing nuts down. Snug is fine, you don't need to over tighten them. Take your vacuum hose and hook it to the center connection. The brushes on this model are raised and lowered with an electric solenoid. If you push on the top of the switch, it will raise the brushes. If you push on the bottom, the solenoid actually comes up, but it pivots in the middle of the machine, which is actually lowering the brushes. You can put more pressure on the brushes by simply operating the switch longer. You can find out how much pressure you have on the brushes by watching this meter, pulling on the trigger with the brush actuated. Stop this forward motion on the machine, push on the brush switch, pull the trigger, drop the brushes down until the gauge starts to come over. The larger machines with bigger brushes or more aggressive pads will create more pressure on the dial as you increase it. To raise and lower the squeegee is just like a 20-inch scrubber where a manual lever, push it off to the left. The squeegee blades are replaceable. There are actually 4 blades in this one blade. The front edge, the leading edge of the blade, the corner that's in contact with the floor, is what's doing the wiping. The corner in the back is not doing the wiping. So if the leading edge wears out, you can flip this, simply open this, take this band off, flip the squeegee around, and then you are using the leading edge of this blade. There are also 2 edges up here. You can turn it over and use the forward and the rear edge. So there actually are 4 squeegees here. When all 4 of these edges wear out, then you can use the complete set of squeegees that we have provided on each machine. This is a wear item. That'll be the first thing to wear out on the machine. So at Viper, we try to think of everything and offer an extra set of squeegee blades. This squeegee is free floating. It should never need adjustment. If it goes down too far, the wheels hit. If it hits a high spot or something, the wheels take over. If you think you need more pressure on the squeegee, turning this knob in a clockwise direction will put more downforce on the squeegee. The squeegee itself is a heavy cast aluminum, very heavy duty squeegee for a scrubber this size. It usually gives you enough downforce, but you can add or subtract downforce by turning this knob. The control console has two positions for different heights of operators. There are breakers here. There's a main breaker for the entire machine. There's a left brush and a right brush breaker. There is also a vacuum motor, a breaker for the vacuum motor located near the vacuum motor down in the front of the machine, right by the vacuum circuit breaker decal. There's a clear lid on top of the machine so that the operator can see foam. If there's foam, obviously you do not want to get foam into the vacuum motor. That will shorten the life. Can also tell if it's full. There's a vacuum float switch, a float in here that will shut the vacuum motor off if it gets too full of water. It will not shut it off for foam. That's what the float shut off looks like. There's a ball in there that will go up with the water and shut the vacuum off. Be sure to keep this clean, but then store it with this off. Make sure it's down so the tank is sealed when it's in operation. To fill the machine, to get water into the solution tank, you have two options. We have a bucket fill port up front with a very fine screen to keep dirt and other material out of the solution tank. In the back, we have a hose fill port. Simply unscrew the plunger and pull it out. If you back the machine into a slop sink, into a small closet, it's easier to fill from the rear. This hose tells you, this clear hose illustrates how much water is actually in the machine. There are gallon markers to coincide. If you would want to empty the solution tank, just release the hose into an appropriate drain. To empty the dirty water or the recovery tank, unscrew the stopper, keep it above the water level, otherwise you'll fill your shoe with something nasty. Pull the stopper down and then let the water come out into the control housing. I have a master switch that controls juice to the entire machine. The vacuum switch comes on and off with the switch. The brush and the water flow do not come on and off when I hit the switch. They are actually controlled by the operating levers. When I squeeze these levers, one or other or both of the levers, you'll see the lights come on. That means the brushes start turning. The solution operates an electrical solenoid, an electrical switch that turns the water on and off for you. That way, if the operator walks away from the machine and the switch is on, he doesn't leave a big puddle on the floor. It also will not allow the brushes to run unless the operator has his hands on the machine, so he doesn't burn a hole in the floor, leave the brush running in one spot. Again, to raise and lower the brush is operated here. Now we shut the water on and off electronically with the solenoid with this switch. We can also control the amount of water we put on the floor. Once you have it set for your particular application, you probably set it once and leave it alone. To install the pads on the machine, the pad drivers or the brushes, whichever you use, and both are available, have 3 lugs on them. And there are 3 receiving holes and a hairpin clip to lock them on. So simply slide it under, line up the clips, or line up the 3 lugs, and give it a turn into the hairpin. The warranty, there are 12 years. Count them, 12 on the poly tank. There are 5 years on the metal components, such as the squeegee housing, the big cast aluminum squeegee housing. Anything else you see is metal on this machine. Then there are 3 years on the motor, on all the motors, and there's 1 year on the wear items.